Hey everybody, it's your girl PJamma with PJamma Life. And we're having a little technical difficulties, but I'm sure the fellas will be on shortly. So while we're waiting today, we're going to review the really great, fantastic Summer of Soul. We're also going to take a look at the Star Trek Discovery, both of those in honor of Black History Month. Then we're going to take a look at the new sequel, The Kingsman. And finally, we'll check out Peacemaker with Eagly and the rest of the crew. So why don't we take a look at Summer of Soul, and I'll try to get the other fellas back on.
Back then, music was segregated. Pop groups wasn't playing black music, black groups wasn't playing pop music. And so we were caught in the middle.
When the moon is in the southern
It's just black people. This was the first time I'd ever seen so many of us. It was incredible.
The first lady of soul, Nina Simone.
Mr. Backlash, Mr. Backlash, who do you think I am? You raise my taxes and freeze my wages, send my only son to Vietnam.
Well, we're more concerned about the moon than men. Somebody better wake up.
Okay, we're still trying to get the fellas back, but I'll start and talk about Summer of Soul. Okay, I kind of was like hesitant to watch it because I didn't want it to be bad and I wanted it to be good. And baby, it did not disappoint. You have got to watch this film. It's up for Academy Award for Best Documentary. And so far, it's on my number one list. The music is really fantastic. And it's one of the most pivotal times in America. It's 1969. It's the summer. This is after having lost Martin Luther King and the Kennedys and Malcolm X. And I mean, it is a turbulent time in America. And there's a war going on, and there's a lot of parallels to today. So I think people need to take a look at it so they can see a good piece of history that was totally forgotten. And this one they had filmed it, tried to sell it, and weren't able to sell it because the networks and people didn't accept it, and the film distributors didn't want to distribute it. But when you take a look at it, it's just so poignant and just so amazing in what it reveals about the time, about the music, about the people, because it's interspersed with people who were actually there. So it's not just people who didn't know what it was and doing a reflection on how important it was, but it was actual children who were there, adults who were there, people telling their personal stories, but then stories from the artists as well. And one of the most poignant stories is The Fifth Dimension, and Marilyn McCoo and her husband Billy. I forget his last name. They have separate last names, but the story they told is just really beautiful. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but safe to say that The Fifth Dimension and Hair was a match made in a cab. So definitely when the fellas get back, we're going to keep on talking about Summer of Soul because I loved it. And definitely want you all to take a look at Summer of Soul. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus. Okay? And the review says he loves a good doc. And thanks, Dwayne DeMarco says, I'm looking lonely tonight. I thought that was lovely, but I guess it's lonely. I'm never lonely all here. So why don't we take a look at the next TV show featuring Black History Month? We're going to take a look at the new, I guess it's not new, it's the 4th season of Star Trek Discovery.
In a time of rebuilding, there is a very fine line between a pendulum and a wrecking ball.
We're the Federation. It's what we do. And if you need anything else, we're here. No strings attached.
I guess, but there are a lot of strings attached. I guess this season, with Star Trek Discovery, last season was fire. I loved it. I love Michelle Yeoh as Georgiou. And that whole situation. This season kind of seems very sad. It's very like sad, and everybody's sad, and everybody's got trauma, and everybody's talking about their sadness and their dismay and all these relationships. I was like, this is the saddest voyage in Star Trek history. It's as sad as the third Star Trek of the new with Chris Pine. I was sad. I was like, too much sadness. I don't watch these shows to be sad, and every episode is some kind of trauma, or somebody's leaving, or somebody's sad, or somebody's crying, or being just traumatized. It was just a little much for me. And I love the series, and I guess Dwayne DeMarcos is right that after 2 years of a pandemic, the sadness kind of creeps through. But that's why I look for the future when, things are much better and they have solutions to our problems, and we not having to revisit the same things that we're revisiting now. We already know it's sad here. I want to see where it's happy and everything's back to the way it was. So, I mean, the graphics and the action's pretty good. And here's another thing that I didn't care for this season. I just thought that, I don't know what they did to Sonequa, the captain, Michael Burnham, but they just kind of took her teeth out. And I'm like, she's just sitting up there, she's smiling at everybody, and she's hugging, and she's like, oh, you're doing great, and blah, 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 when they're not, and they're messing up, and everything's going bad. And I'm just sitting there going, huh? I was like, look, you need to get your boyfriend in check and tell him what's up, because he's doing all the wrong things, messing up her commission. And I was like, what have they done to? She was such a powerful, strong force, and now she's like Captain Kangaroo or something. I was like, come on now, give her some. I mean, she's a tough person. I want her to be tough. And so I didn't like that they kind of made her kind of too soft. I want a strong female character, not somebody going around smiling and pouting or smiling and hugging all the time. She's a captain. I expect her to go in and kick ass and take names. So hopefully we'll get some more of that in the future episodes. It kind of started up a couple weeks ago with the second half of the new season. So I'm gonna kind of stick to it because I'm a loyal kind of person. And I'm going to keep checking it out, but they don't have forever. So get it together, Star Trek Discovery. So so let's see if we can see if my buddies are going to come back on. But if not, I'll take some questions from folks. If the review or anybody else wants to come in, Dwayne DeMarcos has some questions, we will take some questions. But mostly, let's take a look next at, oh, now what's the next one? I'm kind of off my game a little. Okay, go ahead and show the next. Oh, King's Man. It is the King's Man, which is the third part of the series, The Kingsman. And now we're taking a look at a prequel, kind of the beginnings of the story of the King's Man and how it all came about. And so let's take a look at the King's Man.
Now, are you ready to prove Kitchener's concerns are justified?
Yes, I am, my shepherd, and I will not let you down.
Damn fucking right.
Is called a parachute. It means that one can jump out of a plane safely.
Sir, I could do anything for you, but I cannot jump out of an aeroplane. And it's not that I wouldn't try.
Wow. So I wish my fellows were here to kind of balance it. Because I think Kingsman is pretty good. It is the story of how the Kingsman's organization and the Statesman organization had their beginnings in World War One. And some of this was revealed in the first Kingsman when they talked about it, and the second one when they talked about the Statesman. And the movie revolves around English gentleman who son is very eager to go into the war. They're not sure, but it actually is a really good history lesson about how the First World War got started and how silly it all was, but also how easily it got started with the shooting of the Kaiser. And I thought it was a decent prequel. However, I thought they spent a significant amount of time about the father and son relationship and it took daggum an hour for them to talk about this father-son relationship and why he didn't want his son to go into the war, but this was a young man who wanted to go into the war, and da 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 da. It took too long, and I wanted them to get to the Kingsmen and their actions and trying to stop these terrorists from beginning World War II and World War One. And it was so the story kind of took a long, it was kind of like taking one of those long boat rides from to cross the English Channel to America. It took a long time when they could have just hopped on a plane. So I definitely think it's definitely worth a look. It's something that the family can enjoy. There's not a lot of profanity, there's no sex, and but there is violence. So if you are hesitant about your kids watching violence, then definitely you might want to look at it first before you send your kids to look at it. But it was entertaining. Probably not as entertaining as the first Kingsman, but it's a decent prequel to the rest of the story. So what you could do is watch the prequel and then watch the 2 subsequent movies and see if they all fit together. That would be an interesting choice. I didn't have time to do it, but I definitely, over the holiday weekend, I might do it. So I would suggest checking out The Kingsman, and that is on HBO Max. Okay, so we are about at the end, and our final pick today is the season finale of The Peacemaker and Eagly. So let's take a look at this.
Don't keep them alive. So they had to transport a creature from their planet across the galaxy. And now we know they keep it in the cavern below the barn on Coverdale Ranch.
Let's go kill a cow.
Fuck yeah.
Let's do this shit.
I think you need to calm down.
You can't come with us. Sure you don't need the help? And now you guys are ruining it.
I know that you're mad, but from the bottom of my heart, I really am sorry. I'm just trying to...
Tony's backstage!
What are you gonna say?
This show has been observed for the whole season. It's been a silly, dumb, stupid romp. But it's been funny and fun. It's got a lot of profanity, and a lot of violence. So up front, you should know that this is not for kids. But I feel that it's been a fun ride. You know, it's not for everybody. I think the whole white supremacist storyline, they could have taken that out and wouldn't have missed anything. And I think that, especially during Black History Month, I didn't find that very appropriate. But I thought that the series, once again with James Gunn, he did a similar job that he's done with the Guardians of the Galaxy, bringing these disparate people together to allow them to kind of form bonds and then eventually become a team with a very quirky, weird leader in with Peacemaker. And so that was really funny. And I think that there are a couple breakout characters. I really liked Danielle Brooks' character, Ads. She was really funny, and she was probably like the most realistic character, where she's just somebody who took a job that her mom recommended to pay the bills when she got laid off of a job. A lot of us have been through that, where your parents have said, hey, I'm tired of you laying around the house. Go and here, my friend has this job. Here, go do it. And so, but it turns out to be the job from hell, you know? So she does a great job of personalizing the story, but then actually showing, which was cool, to show a plus size woman be a superhero too. And so she's doing all her own action. She's like out there kicking butt. Is this Patrick? Are we able to hear you?
I'm here, but you can't see me. So I've been here watching you do. I'm trying to go through a StreamYard, your provider of your streaming service. Yeah, not so good. I'm having a lot of problems with the camera for some reason. Anyway, yeah.
you know what? We can hear you, so you can join in on the discussion. So that's pretty cool. And so what did you think of Peacemaker?
It was good. You know, it was a good ending. They left it open so they could keep going with it. In fact, I would suspect that they're going to have to. I mean, the way they left it. Yeah, it was as good as anything, you know, that they do. And I was interested. It was interesting to see, you know, the tech guy get to be a badass, you know, and go through, and also Tasty, as I call her, because that's where I was introduced to the actress in Orange Is the New Black. Casey
Adebayo. I think her character's name is Adebayo, but yeah, Waller's daughter.
Yeah. Well, that was and the cameos from the Justice League was the cameo. It's just a cameo.
You were supposed to tell it. You are a spoiler.
Well, that's what I am. That's what I am.
Even not on camera, he manages to tell it. Okay, sorry, people, but check out. Don't keep watching till the end because there's some cameos.
Okay, there we go.
But I thought it was a fun series. It's definitely an adult series, definitely rated R, even almost X in some cases. But it's pretty fun, and people are I think people are enjoying it for the most part.
Yeah.
And so we had a chance to go through some of our other ones. And the review said he loved the eagle who gives her Eagly. He's my baby boo. I loved him the most out of everybody. And he's always trying to take care of Peacemaker. So even at the end, he tried to take care of Peacemaker. So, but you saw Peacemaker kind of losing it a little bit.
Well, it was a bit of an identity crisis. I mean, you know, he had a lot of stuff going on, you know, personally, and you know, he's kind of trying to refine himself, you know.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, when you shoot your father in the face,
well, that's a rough look, you know.
Have
Yeah,
some impact on your psyche. So
could be a rough look.
Yeah, I mean, his whole family is gone when you think about it. At his hands, so it's kind of that kind of might trip your mind up a little bit. So definitely, I think that Peacemaker is fun. It's for adults, but it's a good time. And the review says that it was reviewed for another season. So another
Good
season of Eagly. Well, we're going to give you a chance, Pat, to talk about any of the other shows. How did you like Summer of Soul? Because I got
really good. You know, I've seen it. I saw it this summer.
Yeah,
when it first came out. And so, and I was sitting there going, God, I think you saw something like this. And Sherry's like, I think we saw that. And so I rewatched it again, and God, it's still so good. I mean, it was definitely an unknown or unspoken about, represented alternative to Woodstock, and it looked a lot more fun than Woodstock. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
You know. So.
Yeah. And it was so true to life to me, because we did exactly those things. If we went like to the drive-in movie when we were kids, my mom would cook up chicken and Safeway brand pop, because nobody was buying that expensive food at the concession stand when you could bring food, right?
Oh God, no. Yeah.
When
you got a hot dog as a luxury. I know. I remember saying
exactly.
It was the same with me too.
Yeah, the review compliments you on your excellent epic mustache, Pet. So he's sad you won't be able to be seen.
No, wow, ow.
That's nice. But when the guy said, "Oh, it smelled like Afro sheen and chicken," I knew exactly what he was talking about. But what it was too was just a wonderful reflection of African American culture, and where you can see that it was beautiful to see families out there and children, and the children now telling the story of what happened. Hey, it's Tim Windsor. He came in to say hi. Hi, Tim Windsor. And that only thing a lot of times you hear about that time is how turbulent it was. But there are also very beautiful moments like this that you can see. And Questlove deserves. I'm just waiting to see the other documentary features, but so far this one really is it's really the best one for me so far. And what did you think about Star Trek Discovery? You and I are both Trekkies, so what did you think?
I am
of
not
the
all the way
season?
through it. I was watching it before I came in here.
Yeah, me
before I
too.
came in here to talk. And I'm almost through it, and I still love it. I mean, yeah, it's getting a little more complex. And the thing I've noticed is an interesting thing is that Michael Burnham's from the Kirk era, or actually a little pre-Kirk, to be honest. And she's got some definite Kirk-like tendencies, though. I mean, she wants to get down on the ground, and everything. Whereas you saw Picard and Janeway and Cisco, they tend to be a little bit more delegatory. They're like, I'm the commander. I'm not supposed to be on the front lines. And remember, Kirk was on every single away
hopping
mission.
down to the planet and getting his butt kicked and then kicking butt, and it's like, you're not supposed to be there. Who's watching the
he
ship?
run off in the bushes with some green girl, and what I mean, Kirk was I guess kind of a different kind of captain. Archer was too a little bit in the original Enterprise, which was a decent series too.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering because I think wasn't a ship named Archer?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was the Archer and there was a Janeway.
I was trying to figure out. I knew it was a captain. I couldn't figure out which show he was a captain of. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I mean, I do enjoy it a lot. The Spore Drive thing's kind of an interesting twist, and having the I guess the conflict between the warlike tendencies and the diplomatic tendencies was really interesting. I haven't got all the way through it, so I don't know how it all ends. So I can't give any real spoilers, but
Well, isn't that refreshing?
Wow. I just people should be watching stuff. They know what we're going to talk about. They should be watching and have their own opinions. Come on now.
Oh my goodness. Now, who I really have enjoyed on the series is David Cronenberg. I have been just
the psychologist or the guy. Yeah.
He has been like so fantastic that I've been like, yes, David Cronenberg. When he breaks down the ship's doctor, he's like, look, you got 10 minutes. I got a whole bunch of meetings, so let's do some candor here. And he just breaks him down to the ground. Because he don't have time to BS with him about what his real problem is. And I was like, wow, if only therapy was like this. It can move so much faster. But did you like the relationship between Burnham and Booker?
It was good, and it seems like at the point where I got to, it got a little bit awkward, I guess, for lack of a better word. There was some definite tension because of the different viewpoints they had on, understandably different viewpoints, based on their personal experiences, which were quite different at that particular moment. So it was hard to say where. I don't know where it's going to end up in the season. It doesn't look good at the point where I'm at now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. I mean, there was a definite play back and forth. There were some parts that I was like, it felt like kind of throwaways, or like the trill that they were implanting into the artificial body, and some of that stuff was kind of like, it just seemed it didn't seem to be going anywhere or really moving the narrative for me. So
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was okay with that. But
yeah, and this is the first Star Trek that has featured a significant outnumber of LGBTQ
oh God,
characters.
Lord, yes, so many.
I mean, and they just did a really beautiful Entertainment Weekly series about the show, highlighting, or it may have been either Entertainment Weekly or Out Magazine, on each of the characters who are out. And it was really beautiful, some of the scenes. And let me tell you, the Dr. Wilson Carews got the body of the gods. He's been out. He was in one of my favorite movies, and the scenes with Zola, the ship's computer, reminded me of Supernova. If you want a kind of good Saturday afternoon flick, Supernova with James Spader, Wilson Cruz, and Angela Bassett. Check that out and see if there's not some parallels there. But also, the Mary Wiseman, who is the what's her name with the red hair, the long curly red hair.
Yeah.
But I was
Tilly.
like, was she pregnant? Is that why she left? I couldn't figure it out.
I know.
And I was like, I wonder if she was pregnant. But I'm sorry, Mary Wiseman, if you're not pregnant.
Yeah. Awkward.
I know. Awkward. She did look pregnant. And that would be a good way to kind of have her character kind of exit the show to do that and then come back probably next season. But I just felt like Booker's character was just rogue all the time. I get it, but how do you tell a captain of a ship, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And you're going to let me do it because you're my girlfriend. I mean, I was kind of like, huh? Any other captain would have, like taken care of that situation. So her character this year. I mean, you'll see in further episodes, Pat, what I'm talking about is they've just kind of defamed her, and I just don't like it.
I mean, I'm fairly far in the whole series. I mean, I don't know where the break is. I'm probably maybe 3 or 4 episodes from the end. So,
okay.
I've gotten pretty far into it.
I think they're at, next week will be episode 10.
Okay.
And
I think I'm on 8.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. They just kind of defamed her and made her sweetness and light. And I was like, where's that first or second season, Michael Burnham?
She's just trying to get along. Well, she's trying to be captain now. I mean, she can't be just the impetuous. I mean, but she's doing a lot of it for what this level of for this level of time period, she's pretty aggressive even still. The whole idea we're gonna kind of do some shady backroom stuff and do what I need to do thing, going on. So I don't know.
Not the stuff with her.
I do. I love the show though. I love the show.
I don't know about this season. I love the show. Don't get me wrong. Of course, I love the show.
They're allowed to have a bad season.
Yeah, I'm not. This is not my favorite season. I'll put it like that. Okay, did you have a chance to look at The Kingsman?
Yes, I saw it in the theaters.
See, there you go. I waited and sat and watched it at my house. So, what did you think of The Kingsman?
It wasn't as good as the first. The first one was amazing. Second one was kind of derivative, and this one was like, it just seemed like they were kind of going through a lot of trying to make things, it was okay at best. I mean, it was a good action flick, and I mean, I enjoy those, and the action in it was just fine. It just it like I said, it felt kind of derivative.
Well, and it spent an inordinate amount of time with the son and his situation and the father and the son. It was like an hour of that stuff. And I was like,
Well, yeah.
You know what? You could have cut that in half and then really got to the action part about the three rulers and then all the crazy shenanigans going on, how they were going to defeat them. That's what the Kingsman is about. Not all this family drama foolishness. I was like, come on, man. But once you got away from that stuff, then it's great to see what's his name? The main character, the
Ralph
father.
Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes back doing action stuff and
he's
actually
Voldemort.
having
Leave
a
him alone
face.
now.
No, actually having a face. His very handsome face that I fell in love with in Strange Days. But him, now get to see him and Demon Hounsou. They're great. And you forget that, we always think of parachutes as having always been around, but it wasn't. And some of the things in battle we take for granted in World War One, things were not, invented yet. So these wars were very difficult. But it was a nice little history lesson. So that's what saved it for me, was kind of how they did a funny take on how this war got started and how silly it all was for it to have come about in the first place. So I think it's okay. I think it's something you could definitely watch on HBO Max, and you won't feel like you wasted, I don't even know if it was 2 hours. It might have been a little over 2 hours.
Well, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was a solid 6, 7, maybe. I mean, it was entertaining, but it was not anything revelatory, or there was no amazing performances in it or anything like that. So yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, especially when the King's Men, the very first one was just super great. So this one is kind of like the steam ran out, and I don't know if it was that I understand there was kind of some I think there's some kind of lawsuits or something going on about it, but it's definitely, you can tell that the care and innovation of the first one, even the second one, had some really great moments, and I really appreciated it. But the third one just kind of, but it might be one you can watch over and over and you'll like it more. So definitely, I think, check out The Kingsman on HBO Max. So I think that covers all of our shows. Unfortunately, our buddy David couldn't make it today, but I hope you enjoyed everything this week. I had my in celebration of Summer Soul. I made my red Kool-Aid, and and definitely check out definitely my most recommended of this week is Summer of Soul. And Pat, do you have one that you recommend the most?
Out of the bunch we watched this week,
yeah,
I liked the Star Trek. I just enjoy Star Trek, so it was definitely the best out of the three. I mean, Peacemaker was a good conclusion, but it was nothing I was really tied to. I do have a deep affection for Star Trek, though.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so next week we have the Netflix series from Shondaland, Inventing Anna, Nightmare Alley with Bradley Cooper and Guillermo del Toro acting, then another Oscar nominee, Respect, and the one and only Dick Gregory. I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to look at that film about Bill Cosby, because actually, Dick Gregory was one of the greatest comics of all time. And so I'd rather focus on him. So next week, we're going to look at that. So definitely check us out next week at PJamma Life. And we'll see you next time. Pat, say goodbye to the people.
See you guys. Sorry I was late.
No worries. We will see you next week. So have a good night and take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.